opportunities, both sides of the ball. Went back and forth there for a while, and we had a chance on offense to score a few more points, and defense we had a chance to get them down and get some stops and create some stuff, and we just didn't make the plays we needed to. A lot of that has to do with them and their execution.
What do you think about third down? You got them third down 16 times. They converted on 9 of those. What do you think the big difference was on those conversions?
The quarterback played really well. He made great throws. The first week, you didn't see some of those throws he was making, but he was locked in, being down there on the field level. It was tight spiral. He was decisive, putting it where it needed to be put. And, obviously, we could probably be a little tighter on some of those coverages, but I thought he was very accurate in the difference.
When you look at the defense, how do you fix it at this point, or do you feel like it's maybe not broken and just had a bad night?
Yeah, we're disappointed in how we played defensively, but I believe in those guys, believe in Coach Gibbs. After you watch the film, there's times we had people in position to make plays and didn't make plays. So we got to keep growing, keep getting better together, and go from there. But yeah, there's not anything that's broke. We got to improve it, no question. But you know, we just got to get going in the right direction.
When you kind of look at it from a head coaching standpoint, at what point in time do you go, okay, I got to spend more time with the defense, or do you feel like that you spend enough time with the defense?
Yeah, I feel like I have a good grasp of what they're doing and how they're handling things and how they're coaching and the way it's getting done. So, like I said, I believe in those guys, all those coaches in that room, and Coach Gibbs and those players, and I know they'll get it going the right direction.
If y'all got it to punt 3 times in the first 4 series, did you detect anything, any adjustments they made or things they did differently after that?
No, and then the 5th series was the one where we got the fumble return for a touchdown and had the roughing the pass for a penalty, so it would have been 4 or 5. And after that is when I really saw, I think, a change, I guess, in momentum or our attitude, and we didn't handle that adversity very well and never recovered.
The fact that it was 101 degrees at kickoff, did you feel conditioning was an issue at any point?
I did not.
How do you think that your offensive line tailbacks picked up blitz packages, all those kind of things, after getting a chance to go back and watch it again?
They were fine. They didn't pressure as much as they normally do, I think, with Patrick. They wanted to keep some things in front of themselves, and so I thought our backs were fine in that regard.
When it comes to some of the poor tackling, do you feel like in Gibbs' style they're trying to rip the ball out too much, and maybe some of them aren't worrying about securing the tackle, getting the guy down first of all, and then letting the guys who follow come in and try to do that?
I don't think so. I think week 1 they tackled well, and last week we did not. So, and there were talented running backs as well, big, strong, physical guys, and maybe we haven't seen that type of back, and they weren't prepared for it. But yeah, we got to find a way to get them on the ground better.
You look back on those times where you guys, got someone to the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage or around the line of scrimmage, and then he's able to go an extra maybe 5 yards after the initial contact. Is there any common theme you see from your defense, maybe during those spots where they were able to push the ball after that contact?
No, just we got to get more people to the ball. I think some of those backs are big guys, and a couple of times we had some safeties or DBs there to make the play and got overpowered, and so just needs more bodies trying to get those guys down.
Back on the day, David Gibbs mentioned, he said that you had let him tackle more, let him tackle your good guys more. I assume that was in spring, maybe camp. How much more did y'all do that? And then follow-up question, I assume you're probably still doing that now in season, aren't you?
No, we don't tackle in season with our veterans. Yeah, I mean, we probably 3 times as much as we had done previously in spring and fall camp.
But by and large, do you think 55 points is enough to win? I mean, is that kind of, when you kind of look at this, go, okay, 55, that's a big number.
Yeah, you'd like it to be, but I mean, y'all watch the Big 12 every weekend, and there's one of those a week in our conference that you go back and forth and it ends up, 56, 52, or 65, 60, and that's playing the game. And we got in one of those games, and as a team, we got to be able to find a way to win that game.
Demoralizing as first loss in the season can you look around the Big 12 for the first couple of weeks and say, look, there's been some top teams, at least projection-wise, that have lost. the conference is still wide open. Let's finish non-conference and just see what happens when we get to Big 12 play.
Yeah, I think you always take that approach if you drop a non-conference game. I mean, you're not 2 conference yet, and that's the ultimate goal, to win the Big 12, and that's still out in front of us. So all of that will shake you out down the road, but this is one we can learn from and have to improve.
Coach Tony's bad snap on the goal line, right there, is it just miscommunication on his part? Or?
No, the D lineman jumped into the neutral zone and they didn't throw the flag, so I can't fault him on that. We've turned that into the officials, and it was pretty clear that he was across.
When you look at La Tech, I know probably the defense, not like we don't know a lot about, but probably the defense is better than most people probably think when you said.
I think as an overall team, just the success they had last year, they went into Arkansas and had a chance to win that game right at the end. Played at Mississippi State last year, played in their championship game last year. So he's developed a good culture there. Even when he was at East Carolina, they'd play anybody anywhere, and they've taken that same approach at Louisiana Tech. So they'll come in here confident. They'll come in expecting to win the game, and they're a very good football team.
What sticks out to them for you defensive-wise? What guys, I guess, really kind of stick out to you?
Yeah, I mean, all of them really. They swarm to the football. They'll change up the looks pretty much week to week, and they play hard. They're aggressive. They're well coached, and don't make many mistakes.
Last week you said that the offensive line played soft to you. Did you see that come back and be much better last Saturday?
I thought we were better. We were more physical. We still weren't able to run the ball on a couple times. We had very light boxes, and you would have liked to be able to hand it off and get some yards, and we weren't. So it's still a work in progress, but I thought protection-wise they held up against a pretty good defensive line fairly well.
How about the receivers? You mentioned the issues with some of the blocking with them. How did they play this past week?
They blocked well. They definitely stepped up their blocking. Now route technique, depths, things that I thought got sloppy, particularly towards the end of the game. But we asked them to have a much higher sense of urgency in the blocking, and they did.
You mentioned the 55 points thing, and how do you think the offense did there towards the end of the game? Were they just gassed? It seemed like they weren't maybe as effective. I know that's a relative thing when you score 55.
Yeah, no, we definitely had opportunities. I think guys just started pressing. You know, you get in that situation, you try to make everything in one play instead of just running our offense going through our system, and that's something we've got to get better at.
Kliff, the defensive series where you had 3 penalties, what did you think of the call on Brady, the Russell pass?
I'll stay away from that, but that, and then I guess there were 2 more on the same drive, correct? Yeah, I mean, that's tough. You get talking about 60 yards of penalties or 50 yards of penalties, so it's a tough drive.
Not sure how much of the game you've been able to watch, but who stood out to you from watching Louisiana Tech and Arkansas? Have you been able to watch that film at all?
Yeah, I like their young quarterback. Athletic, true freshman, went in there and handled himself very well. And I think that was the one thing that jumped out to me was for a young kid how poised he was in that atmosphere.
I think last week you'll get some Player of the Week awards. Do you have any this week?
Not when we don't win the game, you don't give those out.
What do you think of the way that the Oklahoma State game was handled at the end, where they got the call wrong and walked off the field and then realized that it should have gone the other way?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I can see both sides of it, but I think whatever happens on the field, you have all those levels looking at it, and the end is the end.